So, in order to improve the animation we created, we will first smooth out the keyframes by convert them to easy ease keyframes. So let's select the layer, press U, to see all the keyframes, select them, and press F9. Let's see how it looks. Okay, now the animation doesn't look so cool. Let's see how we can improve this. Let's get closer. We'll move the screen over here and learn how to do it. So, first thing, I know that in this keyframe, the sphere needs to move very quickly upwards. To do this, let's go into the graph editor, make sure we're on the speed graph. And now let's drag this handle over here and this one over here. This caused the sphere to move very quickly at the beginning of this keyframe. Now I want the sphere to descend quickly when it reaches this keyframe. So let's select this keyframe, drag this handle over here, and this handle of this keyframe over here. Let's see how it looks. Looks great. Let's change the sphere's color to white for now, so we can see it better. Now let's select the position parameter again from here, so we can see the keyframes and continue. Now I want the sphere to not stop at this point. To do this, let's select this keyframe, press it twice, and select Continuous. Click OK, and move this keyframe upwards. Let's see how it looks. I raised it too much. Let's get closer. And now, let's lower it a bit. Now it looks great. After that, at this point, the sphere needs to continue its movement quickly. Let's see how we can do that. Let's exit the graph editor. We can turn this keyframe into a continuous keyframe to achieve this. I will zoom in on the keyframe so we can see what we're doing. As you can see, the keyframe is currently an ease-in keyframe. If we hold down the Control key and click on the keyframe once, it will return to a regular keyframe. But if we click on it again while holding down Control, it will change to a continuous keyframe. So, let's see how it looks. So, when the sphere reaches this point, it doesn't stop, it continues its movement. Now, I also don't want there to be a stop in this part. So either we will turn this keyframe into a continuous keyframe or return it to a regular keyframe. We'll hold down Control and click on this keyframe once. Let's see how it looks. One more time. It looks good. But now let's try to make this keyframe a regular keyframe and the other one a continuous keyframe. I think it will be better this way. Let's leave it like this and move on. We will turn the last keyframes into a continuous. We'll hold down Control and click it once. Let's see how it looks. Okay, I think we'll return this keyframe to continuous and this one to normal. I intentionally show you this process because when we animate something, we always change the keyframes until we find something we like better. This is a normal workflow in After Effects. Okay, after we're done with the keyframes, let's time the animation and move them on the timeline until we reach the animation speed we're satisfied with. So first of all, right now, this animation lasts for 4 seconds. That's too long, which causes the entire animation to look slow. Let's shorten this entire animation. For this, let's select all the keyframes we have. We'll stand at the second number 2 with the time indicator, hold down the Alt key, and drag the last keyframe while also holding down the Shift key. Let's see how it looks. Now, I want all the motion happening in the lower part of the circle to speed up. For this, let's select the last 3 keyframes. Now, hold down the Alt key and drag the last keyframe, let's say, to frame 30. Let's see how it looks. I think it's great. And now, let's make the sphere repeat the same animation again. I want the sphere won't stop when it reaches this point. I want it to keep moving upward. For this, we can select this keyframe and all the keyframe that come after it. We'll copy them by pressing Ctrl+C. And paste them here for now, in the second two. Let's see how it looks. Looks nice. Now, for better movement, let's convert this keyframe to a continuous keyframe. Question: how can we convert a keyframe to a continuous keyframe? To do this, we'll hold down the Control key and click on this keyframe once, and then again. Let's see what comes out. I also noticed that there will be a small problem here, because the keyframe here are of a different type. Let's make it continuous too. And the last one continuous. Let's see what comes out. And now let's make the sphere do another jump. First, let's extend the work area. And as we did before, when we copied all the animation from this keyframe, we can now copy these keyframes from here, because it's when the sphere starts to rise, stays in the air, and then quickly descends. Now, let's go to frame 30 and paste them here. Somehow these keyframes became easy ease. It's not a problem. Let's convert them to continuous keyframes. Now let's see how everything looks together. In my opinion, the animation is slow. Let's shorten it a bit. For this, select all the keyframes. Let's say we want the entire animation to last until second number 4. So hold down the Alt key and drag the last keyframe while also holding down the Shift key. Note that, as we move this keyframe, it became easy ease. For now, it doesn't bother us. We will take care of it later if needed. For now, we are just checking the speed of the entire animation. It looks great. Now I want the animation that occurs in the bottom part to be fast and smooth. What we can do is to bring these keyframes close to each other like this. Let's do this in all the parts where the sphere is in the bottom of the animation. Let's see how it looks. In my opinion, we can speed this up even more. So let's get those keyframes close to each other even more. Let's see it again. Okay, now it looks much better. Let's make the sphere do another rotation. For this, let's go to second 4 and 30 frames. We will copy all the keyframes from this sphere and paste them to the position of the time indicator. Let's change these keyframes to continuous keyframes. After we finish with this animation, let's make the sphere enter the frame in some way, because it can't just stand here and then jump. It doesn't look good. For example, from this point in time, we can create a scale animation for the sphere. Let's press S and create a first keyframes here. Now let's press U to see all the keyframes on this layer. And now, let's go back in time a bit, for example, to here, and make the sphere size 0. We'll convert these keyframes to easy ease and see how it looks. I think it looks good. Now that we're starting to see the sphere from this moment, we don't really need all the beginning part. But to save the animation and prevent damage, we won't delete the keyframes. We'll just shorten the layer. We can either manually shorten the layer, or use the shortcut Alt and left bracket. And now what we can do is create an animation of the disappearance of the sphere. For this, we can copy the keyframes of the scale parameter that we previously created. After that, paste them at the end of the animation, and reverse their order. By right-clicking on one of them, accessing the keyframe assistant, and selecting time reverse keyframes. And because at this point we no longer see the sphere, we can cut the layer. Let's stand here with the time indicator and press Alt and right bracket. Now let's improve our animation with a cool effect that we used in the previous lesson, called Echo. Let's go to the Effects and Presets panel. Type Echo in the search bar. Drag this effect onto the sphere. Here we write -0.001. Here we write 30. And here we change it to maximum. Now, when the sphere is moving at high speed, we will see a cool trail effect. This effect can be a bit heavy on your computer, so be careful not to overuse it with too many duplicates. Now let's color the sphere in blue, just like it was at the beginning. We'll select the layer, go to Fill, and sample the blue color using the eyedropper. Then we'll press Enter. Excellent! Let's zoom back in and now let's duplicate our sphere 2 more times. But before that, let's arrange the preview screen for a better workflow. And now, we'll select the layer. Next, we'll press Ctrl D. Finally, we'll color the new sphere in yellow. After that, we'll duplicate it again and color it in red. Now let's create an offset between all the spheres. Let's move those 2 layers over here. To be precise, we can count how many frames we moved exactly, using a shortcut. We'll hold down the Control key and press the right arrow on our keyboard. Okay, so we moved 10 frames exactly. Now let's select only the layer of the red sphere. Now, move it 10 frames using Ctrl and arrow keys on the keyboard. And now let's move the layer over here. Let's see how it looks. Looks great. Now I want to teach you something important. Let's say we decided to reduce the thickness of the stroke of the big circle to 10. Now the smaller spheres are too big compared to the new stroke. If we reduce these layers through the scale parameter, because this parameter already has keyframes, we will create unnecessary keyframes and ruin the animation. Let's see how to do it correctly. The right way to do it is to open the contents of layer and reach the transforms of the ellipse itself. We can do this quickly for all layers together by selecting all of them, typing scale in the search bar, pressing enter, and shrinking the spheres through the transform of the ellipse, and not through the layer's scale. You see, there is no keyframes on the scale parameter. We'll write 50 here. We'll write this also in the second and third spheres. Now we can close the search bar. And there we have shrunk the spheres without affecting the animation. Alright, let's move on. Now let's increase the stroke thickness of the large circle. Maybe to 20. It's too big. Let's write 15. "15 is excellent. Now I see that the offset I created is too large. So let's bring the layers closer together like this. That's better. Looks nice. By the way, if you don't like the effect, you can turn it off from here. Let's see how it looks. Okay, I like how it looks with the effect. So, that's it, we have animated the spheres, and now let's proceed to animate the stroke of the large circle. But before that, I highly recommend taking a 10-minute break. Get up from your